all-in-one platform you need. Search podcast today. They take care of distribution. They take care of everything for you. Please make sure to check them out. Links will be down in the description below for Once in Our Lives. So join us today. We have Joseph. And we have Charles. We didn't even get to that point. What's up, boys?
He's holding a gun.
He is holding a gun. Airsoft.
It's a Nerf gun.
I was so close. Man. I was a hair off. Or some may say I was a dart off. Joseph, how's your week?
My week was interesting. You sure you want me to go first?
You know what? No. Charles, how is your
Yeah, exactly. Because I can go for 20 minutes. So how are you, Charles? Fine.
It cuts back to me. I just skip past usually whatever my week is.
Wild card, right? Like somebody thinks you're 80 years old in the supermarket, or like, car blew up or something. So with you, it could be like anything. So
you know what? Facts. Charles, how are you doing, dude?
I'm doing all right. I'm just looking forward to things that are going on this week. Me and my girlfriend are going to be checking at a place called Video Game World. Hopefully, we'll be able to find some old video games that we've been wanting to get into something like that. Really?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just also looking forward to this Wednesday because of wrestling related crap.
Hell yeah. That's what I like to hear. We played some Borderlands last night. How was that experience?
It was fun.
Yeah, it was, because we bring the fun over on Twitch, Skull Hunter Games. We try to do it every Sunday, but there's no guarantees. But that's good. I'm glad to hear your week was good. Let's go on with mine real quick. It's nice, it's short, nice, sweet, and simple. Nothing crazy happened. I ruined my desk. My desk was moved out a little bit. I got everything to one power strip, and as the audience, if you're the video or audio listeners, I'm a little yellow. I'm a little yellowish green. Don't know why. I am though. And that will be fixed next time. I'm going to be trying to balance it out throughout the podcast. I released a video that is actually doing pretty good on YouTube for stats wise. I'm all about the numbers this week. Been editing for a few people, and they've been doing great. Busy week. I am now 226 pounds. That is a great thing for me. I was 230
hey,
a couple of weeks ago, so I'm happy about that.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And that's been my week. Streaming's been good. We almost are fully moved over to Twitch, even though I said it was the last one I had to. But we haven't fully made that switch, and there's just been a few things behind the scenes, also known as I want to change my setup, but I can't because my room's uneven. My room is legit uneven. The floor is like this, so I'm trying to figure out a way to balance it out without looking bad. So that's my week. Joseph, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm hanging in there. I'm gonna be shorter than I suppose my average this time because I really only have like the one thing to focus on this week. As I told you guys, I wanted to give Uber delivery a try.
Yeah.
Specifically as a walker, not a biker, not a driver, not a scooter, segwayer, rollerblader, skateboarder, or somebody who's just like running.
Hoverboard?
Like super fast.
Yeah, hoverboard.
Well, hoverboard. I mean, if I had a hoverboard, I don't think I'd be in a position.
Snowboard because it's Canada and I'm sure there's still snow everywhere.
No, we're good, but it's a close call. It's a close call, Charles. So I went out last week to give it a shot. I was able to stick to my area because my area is reasonably dense. It's not like the downtown core or anything like that, but it's got buildings. Many of which have like multiple floors.
Haunted buildings.
And Toronto is obviously like the metropolitan center of Canada, so I did have the best chance out of anybody in the city. And I got my first delivery.
Nice.
Pretty straightforward, like 7 minutes to pick up the food, 7 minutes to walk back over. So you can make about like $8 Canadian, which is like $6.50 American for 20 minutes worth of work. So average that out, you can actually do pretty well. So, and I felt amazing because I'm sitting at the Tim Hortons, which is our Canadian. It's like McDonald's of coffee shops here in Canada.
Okay.
Like, yeah. It's everywhere. If you come to Canada, you will pass by a Tim Hortons every 10 minutes. So I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking about like, okay, there's going to be downtime, but what do I do during downtimes? Because one of my concerns was if I do this and I'm waiting for orders, then I'm not really doing anything else. This might not help me with making sure that my career continues to move forward. But then I really started racking my brain and realized that this can actually be an enormous opportunity. Because while I'm waiting for orders, I can write. I can do some other stuff on my phone, which I will mention very briefly because I think this will be interesting. So I collected a bunch of like passive stuff that I could do on days where I set out to be a deliverer or a walker. A step counter, one is called Lucky Step. One is called Receipt Hog, take photos of receipts for any purchases. Carrot, which is one of those like, secondhand marketplaces. So just imagine, like, if I'm heading out for a delivery day, I might as well be in the area and say, hey, yeah, no, I can go I can drop this off. Survey one called Bounty, and then there's another step one that I've been meaning to get called Sweat Coin. So the idea was, actually, another important one too, Instawork, which will actually send you shifts that you could work ad hoc. Like, if they say the Jays are playing and they need a cleanup crew, they'll put out a notice and people can sign up. It's like, hey, you're working the night, but you're not exactly a contract. And then Gig Walk, which is like, again, ad hoc tasks. Somebody might need somebody in the area to do something. So I put all of this together, and the idea was to make that day as efficient as possible for if I'm not doing deliveries. So all in all, I feel amazing about it. I feel that entrepreneurial spirit where I'm like totally 100% accountable to myself. If I provide good service, you get good tips. And I needed the exercise. I needed to get out of the house. So all in all, there's going to be bad reviews. There's going to be some days where I'm not happy with this, but it was excellent. And Uber Eats effectively lays off thousands of workers on April 4th. So as of this weekend, Uber decided to nerf the walking program, cutting the radius from 800 meters, or not miles. Sure hell wasn't miles. That would be crazy. But 800 meters to 500 meters. And they actually put a message out over the weekend saying, here's a tip, get a bike.
Wow.
That wasn't word for word. The word for word was bike, don't walk. But for all, they might as well have just said, here's a tip, get a bike.
So you just started, let me just recap this. So you got started doing Uber Eats, you're walking, and you finally get started, and then they said, hey, get a bike, loser.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So that lasted a day, right?
It's on borrowed time at this point. Like, it's not officially over. I actually sent a message to Uber support just to say, like, okay, you're trying to funnel people into the bike program. Is the walking program going to be shut down? I don't know. So it might not last a month. It might not last 3 months. I don't know how long I have with it. So yeah, that, my friends, is some of the most cosmic irony that a person can. I'm not even mad. I'm just impressed at the timing of it. It's,
Could not
this can actually work.
worse.
This will help me hold the fort until I can land some good clients or get something on my own going. And it's not gonna be in. So the one upside, I think, strategically, is that I think they wanted to get anybody who was on the fence between walking or cycling to just get onto cycling, which means that the only people left doing walking are people like me who like don't see so good out of one of their eyes and really don't want to be on anything that's fast as the pilot. So the walking program might stay. One of the other delivery companies might pick up the slack, as they're and then. The key thing will be you have to be in a dense urban setting. So and this will be the last point that I'll make, and then we can get to business. But walking is not as efficient as biking, and it is not as efficient as driving in a lot of situations, except for a few. In dense urban settings, walking is more effective because bikers and drivers have to find parking, or they risk getting a ticket or having their bikes stolen, or frankly having their car stolen for that matter. Walkers are more likely to deal with poor weather. It might be too cold for somebody. It might be too slippery. It might be too wet. But a walker says, look, I just need an umbrella and a little bit of willpower, and I can do this. It's so there are still pockets, there are areas or niches where walking makes total sense, and so my duty now is to figure out what are those key areas, and yeah, so I
Okay.
was this close to really giving Uber like the MVP award.
Well, go
Unless
ahead,
you get
Charles.
shot, stabbed, mugged, freaking jumped, and freaking a whole list of other things while walking.
Well,
I would do this during the day, and Toronto's not that.
they would
kinda city.
apologize before they go mug you.
Yeah, I know the meth addicted stabbers can't really afford rent in Toronto, so they go to like Hamilton or something.
Also, that freaking whole sweat coin thing you mentioned made me think of freaking NFTs, but freaking made of freaking sweat.
Oh, did you guys hear? This is off the record. Like, I want to start a podcast literally called off the record, but it's already taken. But so YouTube is getting into NFTs.
Who is?
YouTube.
Oh,
YouTube is diving their little toes into NFTs, and I'm excited. I'm excited because I learned a lot about the space, and the only reason I learned it is because of this podcast. This is not an educational podcast, but if you do like what you see, subscribe. Subscribe or follow wherever you can. But you know, we just have our fun. So Ubering is now kind of, you know, taking a show on you. So now you gotta find a way to either get a bike or you get a skateboard.
No, I'm not getting on anything that has. I'm not getting on any wheels.
Yeah,
Nope.
I figured. But or you could lie about it. You could do like you could say I'm biking and then just
Run like hell.
I mean, no, but yeah, sure. I mean, do what you got to do to make that dough. But you know, if they take out like you said, it's gonna affect a lot of people. So if it's gonna affect a lot of people, you know they're gonna do the same thing. They're just going to, instead of saying my job's ruined, or until Grubhub or DoorDash picks up the plots, they're gonna go, okay, cool. They're gonna switch to biking. Or
I assume that they're going to get on a bike for it.
No.
Which okay, fine. I grant that. If these say that they're a biker, they're going to get different orders. They're going to get orders that are expected to be delivered in a certain amount of time. So you would have to somehow cover the distance of a biker without a bike.
Okay.
So your only option is to run like hell, or if you're lucky, hop on on a subway or a streetcar or something that happens to be doing that at the time. But now you're relying on public transportation, might be full.
Okay, I haven't used
that shit.
What was that?
I was just saying, just Usain Bolt that shit.
Yeah, you know
If
what?
I could.
Joseph, start running. Speaking of things that are running, you know what you're not going to run into this year? E3, sadly. Guys, E3 is officially canceled. It has officially been released. They are canceling E3 this year, and it's going to be a sad moment for a few. And then everyone's hopes and dreams came across when they're like, wait, they haven't said anything. Airsoft. No, still Nerf. Okay, gotcha. Then they sat there and went, maybe there's still hope. We could get a digital E3. That has also been slammed down with a hell no. So what ended up happening is, according to what I've read, and I'll have a link to IGN's article in the description. According to what I have read, no communication was happening. No one could get proper word on what was happening, who's doing what was going to go on. And it seemed like instead of them communicating, even with the public, they just said, no, let's just not do it. And so E3 has officially been canceled for digital and physical. And it's sad because a lot of things were starting to open back up to a physical locations. And I know a lot of people would have been excited about that. I mean, we have droves of physical tickets now going out. People are going to movie theaters again. Shocking. I wouldn't, but you know, I'm a socialist. But you know, I used the wrong word. Used the wrong word. But you know,
antisocial?
Yeah, antisocial.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a very different thing. Socialist.
Oh, I had
somebody's been triggered on Twitter from that.
Yeah, more than likely. Hey, if you get triggered on Twitter, tag us.
Well, I mean, it's Twitter. People go to get triggered.
Except, okay, oh man, so we gotta stay on topic real quick. So, E3 is canceled officially, everywhere. Now, this is what Xbox did. This is what Nintendo did. This is what PlayStation did. Whenever it was first canceled, they did their own shows. They did their own like kind of E3. They did their own versions of it. I mean, Nintendo hasn't been at an E3 for like 3 years, I'm pretty certain. Don't quote me on it, but they haven't been in one in a while. But they did their own kind of thing. So the reason we bring this up is to inform everyone that what's going on, but and to ask, what do you think is going to be the outcome of no E3? Because something got to happen. And something will happen. So what do we think will end up happening, and what do we think the outcomes of it will be?
It's more tended towards some of these smaller shows that show off video game related stuff.
So like G4? G4 could start releasing stuff.
They're like E3, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah. So you think maybe with them canceling out E3 that they're going to open up that opportunity to smaller creators to maybe, do you think like they're going to maybe email or reach out to these smaller, not like 1,000 size, but like you said, just a smaller creator and be like, hey, this is what's happening, and let them take the ropes?
This means things like Gamescom and PAX, if that hasn't happened already, and if they show any video game stuff at Comic-Con, I honestly forget if that's just like a huge comic thing where they just have like really expensive like statues and stuff and comics that are almost impossible to get outside of the Comic-Con. Freaking, that kind of stuff. I want to go to Comic-Con someday, but I think you have to be invited to go to it.
Comic-Con?
No,
you might be thinking of a more exclusive event because Comic-Con is open to the public.
VidCon, no, even VidCon you can go. There, I know what you're talking about. There is one like Comic-Con event type thing that you have to be like invited for because it's like big people there.
I know this like
pretty sure the third one is invite only because I don't think they want the public to just walk in and be like, why are there so many people in tarantula suits?
Like
for the trains.
You have to either be media.
Guys are like, yeah, so are you. The guy shows up. Okay, sorry.
With media, like E3, you have to be like either big in the media or you have to be a major content creator or something like that, or somebody,
or just like a really good bullshitter. Like if you just like, oh yeah, I'm part of. Like if we put our collective efforts together, we could probably get one of us to go.
I just know that E3 was always like.
Yeah, you, Jordan, of course. it's your brand. I'm just saying, like.
I was like, maybe me. So go ahead, Charles.
I don't know.
Don't worry, you get to the point where they're inviting you.
I just think that without an E3 and everything, it's just gonna be weird but it's gonna be nice for some of these smallish video game related shows.
Wait, Jordan, didn't you go to E3?
No.
I thought you went once. I remember.
No, I never went to one.
Okay, I thought. Sorry.
He wanted to go to RTX once, but he didn't get to.
There, Charles actually got it right. I almost went to an RTX, and then COVID happened, and it didn't work.
And that's pretty much what. Fuck you, RTX.
Yep. So I didn't get to go to one. I almost went to a Comic-Con in Kansas City, and when I almost went there, I was gonna get the cast of The Arrow to be there, and then I had a weird sex dream, and then I thought I couldn't do that.
What?
It's a legit story. I will talk about it in the middle of it. And by the way, if you guys like these segments of them being cut out for YouTube purposes, if you want to see the full where we actually go into details about some of these weird stories, make sure to watch the full podcast. It is also linked at the top of the description. But I'm plugging, man. I'm plugging.
No, I just think it's funny that there's like consistently people come for like the content, and then like 2 minutes in, and you're just so that fur convention I went to, yeah.
I've been trying to keep us on track. You're out of control.
So have I. Okay, I've been pretty good the last little while. Okay, it is leaking out though. I do admit.
You sit there and like, we'll go to Charles. Charles will cock block you and try to say something. You're like, hush, wait, and you finish saying your stuff, and you keep cutting Charles off. I was like, whoa, this man is out of control. This man's out of control.
I think this tea is really fucking good, though.
Is that Arizona tea?
It's
nice.
Half iced tea and lemonade. Fucking awesome!
Dude, that looks like something you get at the dollar store, not gonna lie.
You can get it at any grocery store or Walmart if God forbid if you ever have it on stock.
Hey, you know what you can't get at the grocery store? I'm sorry, audience, we'll get back to this story. You can get Prime! You can get Logan Paul and KSI's brand new drink if you look up, if you just look right there. You can
Fuck Logan Paul!
You can get their new drinks. You can get their new drinks at Walmart today!
Boy, am I glad that I decided to keep to quiet down so we can get the show back on track.
Still can't find a fucking freaking what they call it, freaking graphics card though. Anyways, though.
A 3090. Now you know we'll be able to find that. Back to the podcast, Joseph. What are your opinions of E3, and what do we think we could see out of this?
For the record, my batting average in terms of restraint has been pretty good. Okay, all right.
Until this podcast.
Not perfect, but so I think I grew up in a different time because there was a good window of like 5 to 6 years where E3 was like, okay, I'm aware of it and I long to go for it. It's like it's such a fantasy. Anybody would love to go to E3. Interestingly, I wasn't didn't really care for the booth babes. I'm kind of glad that's done. I mean, there's a time and place for everything, but I don't think E3 is that. You feel, I don't know, feel bad for the models. They're just like, half naked, a bunch of sweaty nerds walking around. I'm like, this is not, no thanks.
I feel that.
Have you seen videos of Comic-Con and a freaking Kamea-Con, aka the Dragon Ball Z?
Of course, yeah, Anime North, all those but we're not talking about people who are working the floor. Those are people who choose to show up dressed like that. Mm-hmm. Where I'm talking about people who are like they're looking for work and they're hired to be dressed like that. I'm like I mean
to get people over to the tables and stuff.
I was like we hire the cosplayers who spend like years working on this stuff. Have them attend to the booth. That would be sick.
That's an honor to them.
I don't think there's going to be much. I think this is going to be a lot of like disarray. My one solid guess is that Nintendo will still do a Nintendo Direct around that time because the residual hype that we all get as gamers around this time has to be used for something. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to see all of the major companies and publishers coordinate to have a bunch of video directs. Just make it easier for all the other content creators to kind of do their own streams, their own reaction videos around the same time, because the ESA, and as well as the ESRB, the gaming industry once in a while will come together to settle matters, like with when they needed to come up with a rating system. That rating system has been pretty consistent for many years now. So the industry can get its act together. So yeah, I think we'll see some events around that time, but I can understand hesitation for planning this event, setting up all the booths, dumping all this money into it, only for us to have some residual outbreak, and then they have to shut the whole thing down again. So I totally get what they're going with this, and I support it. Let them have the year off, make sure that things are okay, and then start building the anticipation for E3 2023. And then lastly, I can't keep up. There's so many games. I would love E3 to actually you just can play other games that are already out. Just try out games that you didn't try out before. There's so many games. I can't keep up.
Jesus Christ, you ain't kidding. There's so many that came out in the last month alone. Like, Jesus.
There's been so many games already released just this year that would have never met E3's panels. And that's a sad realization to it.
I got my habits. They're pretty well ingrained. Like, a friend bought me Undertale 4 years ago. I haven't beaten it. But I have no problem dumping 15 hours of game time in Dota this last week. I just, once people are set in their ways, it's hard for me to pull myself out of that. Because when I pick a game, I'm not big for play the game, finish the story, move on to the next one. I've never really been about that. For me, my games are very much like a lifestyle thing, and trying to plan my week to week around game time, build a social network, build a community around the games that I play. So I'm very selective about what games I commit to long term, and I I just don't know what it's going to take for me to really be like, oh, I'm dropping all this other stuff for this new thing. But I'm not the target market. I'm 32 years old and insane. So, don't worry about me.
You're only insane at the eye of the beholder. So everyone sees you're insane. Excuse me.
So, yeah. Carbon neutral with that one.
I don't know what you mean. Okay, cool.
How about just neutral with that one?
Okay. I get that. Okay, so this is my stakes on it. I think,
Charles, can you tell me more about that iced tea?
Shut your mouth. I think this is what happened. I think Halo done did fucked up E3. I think Halo messed it up because they said it was gonna come out on a certain date when they released it, and it didn't. Cyberpunk was set to release, and it didn't. All this stuff happened in E3. They set dates that used to be reliable, and now they don't happen.
Real.
So when it... that's a tough one. It's
the Nerf gun.
I almost... dude, I was gonna say Nerf. I was gonna say that. But when it's all said, I think it's because they messed up on so many dates, or not in E3, but just the companies had to move the dates back to where E3 said, okay, maybe let's not make a whole event scheduled around big games releasing when we don't even have actual dates of release. Let's just not focus on them. And I think that's why they're not doing it. Now, I think what they're hoping to do is make their own E3 show for their own like Xbox exclusive games that they can guarantee, ones that are already in beta testing or close to it, so they already know it should all be fixed, it should all be finished. We have games that they made last year and the year before that was Xbox exclusive, Game Pass exclusive. Maybe they might make a show showing you everything in Game Pass for the month, everything gonna be in Game Pass in the year. Like, maybe they'll find a way to do that. PlayStation, they have opportunities. They're trying to do their own pass networks, and Nintendo's gonna do their own show like they always do, or air quotes, always do.
Nice.
What?
Vanguard has pretty much gone down the shit, and I think almost nobody's playing it now, except for freaking people that for some reason still like playing that game into the hackers. Freaking plague that game like no tomorrow. I think they want people to play that game, freaking, and especially like me since we decided to fake it. I get that game. They may as well just put that thing on the freaking Game Pass. Just cut the price on it or something. I don't know. And hopefully next time they make another Call of Duty, if they're not going to do a remaster like people have been demanding for freaking ever, for like Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer, freaking Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer, on the campaign like I've been hearing. Well, fucking God forbid, give us fucking Black Ops 2.
Well, they're gonna give us some stuff this year.
They're gonna play another Call of Duty in a beta. At least freaking next time, hopefully that when it comes out, it won't basically just be the beta of freaking slap with a coat of paint. Alright.
I think if they're gonna do any more HD updates, they'll probably do what they did with Infinite for like the Call of Duty ones that are not as marketable, or maybe they don't excite the fan base as much as usual. They'll try to sweeten the deal with one of these updates. So I think if I were them, that's probably when I would release one. When there's one that we're less confident in, and we want to protect it by having like a surefire update that people have been wanting for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give us Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. I think we remastered multiplayer like we've been asking for forever since we got the campaign already, freaking, then I'd be happy.
Well, I
know they have the multiplayer for that game done and everything. They've just been holding it hostage.
Yeah, they also have the Halo Infinite multiplayer campaign finished. I don't know when we're gonna get it, but they have it finished. We just don't see it. But so any last final words on the E3 shutting down, canceling? They're done. Any final words?
I still want to look forward to it, not necessarily for like, well, again, there's so many games, but just the event in of itself is still something that even to this day I would love to go to. So as long as they're using this time to bring E3 back to like the most important event in all of gaming every year.
That's Video Game
Yeah.
Awards.
No.
The reason why I disagree with that, Charles, is because I don't think the Video Game Awards represents all of the gaming industry.
No.
I think it represents a lot of vested interests, a lot of agendas, a lot of like, oh wow, the Last of Us 2, that controversial game. Yeah, let's just give that all the awards. So like, at least with E3, even the more cynical people on the internet, who I have nothing but sympathy for, because I consider myself among them, at least part-time, is everyone plays games. So E3 really is the event for everybody. The awards, some people are going to walk away happy. Some people are going to walk away disappointed. Some people are going to like not even care.
Yeah, because here's the thing: is with the award show, it's more focused on the creators who made the games, that made the
Right.
gamers or stuff
Yeah.
like that, and that's good for them. They should have a show, but I don't feel like that's the most important one. We're E3 on a physical event of E3. This is what you have. You have creators of all sizes there, who they get to meet fans. They actually will get YouTubers out there. They get on stage or meet fans, get them their own little areas and stuff like that, so you can meet up with people. That's a great way to have people from out of state come all together to meet up for once. And you get booths, you get to try out games right there. You can do so much stuff. That's more of an event for a gamer than an award show, and that's my opinion. So I believe E3 is more valuable and is the most important gamer event, not the award show.
Yeah, but I will say the awards show still has room to grow as gaming becomes more prevalent in really every household, and so it can get to the point where like the gaming show will be something like the Oscars, where anybody who has an interest in games will want to tune in to see who won the awards. The same problem with that parallel is the Oscars is an elitist thing, and so you had to be in the Academy, and there's politics behind it. So that is the stigma that I think would be attached to really any awards show. It doesn't matter what industry we're talking about. So if they use the awards show as a chance to reveal some stuff, that would be pretty cool. But again, why would you do it then? Just do it during E3.
Yeah.
One of the things I've always just liked about the Video Game Awards was seeing what they showed for video games. I just remember the one year when Transformers Fall of Cybertron was revealed, and they showed that trailer to. It was accompanied by the song "Humbling," but I can't remember the band, but it was called like I forget what the song was called too, but it was like freaking. It started with Optimus freaking carrying a wounded Bumblebee through a battlefield while Decepticons and Autobots are fighting each other. Cybertron is the best Transformers game. Fight me.
Well, I never played any Transformer games. Shooters and racing were my childhood.
Kind of a bit of
100%.
both.
Actually, yeah, it is like vehicles and shooting.
I mean, yeah, but that was not together. Like, if I played a racing game, it was like NASCAR on the PlayStation. If I played a shooter game, it was like Psychon Felter. It was never both. Graphics weren't great back then, so they couldn't do both without frying up PS1.
I'm missing out of the old EA NASCAR games on the PS2. Those are the fucking best.
I like the new ones. More graphic. I love when you smack a car head on going the wrong way in the racetrack. I love seeing the chaos.
And when the car just gets fucking launched to the next fucking postal code.
Oh, that's even better. That's even better. Versus the PlayStation 1, you just stand there, you just boom. The car is fine. Both cars are fine. You just boom. And they just grind on each other like a fucking 5-year-old at a strip club.
I mean, that depends on which game you're playing, because thinking this one has a cheat code where you can launch golf balls at people. I'm thinking they just get sent flying because the golf ball explodes.
That wasn't the one I had. I can guarantee that was not the one I had. Midnight Club was a great experience for me, though. Oh, God, I missed Midnight Club. That was a good one.
Need for Speed's better!
I would say yes for the realism. For the story, not even close. Like, Midnight Club had a storyline behind it. Versus Need for Speed didn't. Driver had a great storyline if you didn't get the demo disc that on PlayStation 2.
Most Wanted kind of had a story.
What did?
Most Wanted.
Yeah, I mean it did, and it did like, yeah, 100%. It did have a storyline. It did have a story, but versus a game or two games that have a story that don't actually connect, you had Midnight Club that had a story that filled throughout the games, and they make quotes of the people coming back and forth. So they did have their connections to it. So I mean,
Just that both Most Wanted games had a story that connected to each other. Because after the end of the first one, you start the second one on the run in the car that you drove off with from the guy that was chasing you at the end of the first one.
so then you're still the same guy from the first one.
That's in another city.
Okay, well then yeah, it connects. I mean, it's Need for Speed though itself is not a story-based game though.
Yeah.
It just has a game that had a story in it on its lineup of games. It's like not all Call of Duties are connected. It's just the name holds it together.
Unless you're like picking ones that are actually in a certain trilogy, like the Black Ops and series with Faking the World at War in there, because that's connected to the Black Ops series. And
Yeah, you'd think all the World War II ones would be connected. It was just the one war.
It's in the fact that freaking Vanguard has references to Faking to the Black Ops series and the new Modern Warfare.
Well, they have references, but a lot of the references they're using was fucking history. I don't think that counts as being connected.
Cold War has the freaking villain from Modern Warfare 1, for Christ's sake, in it.
Because it's in the same time era. It didn't go from like, because you don't hear anything about woods and stuff like that. It's in the same time era. It's like saying, oh, Hitler's in this game too. It's in the same time period. But I get it.
So Wolfenstein is connected to Call of Duty.
That's the one thing I was thinking made me flip out. Seeing that freaking Imran Zakaya from Modern Warfare was in the Black Ops series in Cold War.
Yeah, I will say that is like in a sense of a crossover, and that is good to see.
I just laughed when I see him get punched in the back of the head by freaking Adler. Like, fuck you, bitch! I killed your ass.
Whoa, you need to calm your nipples, dude. Your nipples are getting as hard as mine. They're soft now. The joke's over. The joke that happened before the podcast started. Joke's over. Joke's over. So we have some other topics to bring up into our podcast because somehow we're already blown over 30 minutes of our time. So we're going to talk about the Oscars now because this should be the final bit of the Oscars that we discuss because at this point it's dead again. So at this moment in time, Will Smith has been banned for 10 years for the Oscars and been banned from other award shows now. He's not just banned at the Oscar for 10 years. He's apparently banned at several award nominations that could actually affect his career. There are studios that said they would not work with Will Smith. So that's at least the update on the Oscars. But now, well, really looking at the repercussions for Will Smith, he's now can't get awards. He's really made a lot of actors think about stuff. Jim Carrey is officially out of acting now. Jim Carrey has stepped down. And Jim Carrey were not happy about the situation at all. And Will Smith is now being told he can't perform in certain movies because they are ran by a studio. He's not allowed in Oscars and other award shows. What do you think this could mean for his career as an actor?
I know a lot of his movies he was going to be working on are pretty much in the can right now.
Yeah. They're definitely going downhill because a lot of places don't want to work with, I don't want to say aggressive behavior, but you assaulted a guy on stage in front of peers and millions of people, and the repercussions are going to happen. And unfortunately, they're happening now. And I love Will Smith. I'm a big supporter of Will Smith. Even though what he did sucks, everyone fucks up, but unfortunately, this fuck up could hinder his career. And I hope not. I hope to God not. But You fuck up, you pay the price. Joseph.
I really didn't want to see him lose his award, so I'm glad at the very least he gets to keep the award. I
Yeah.
don't think it would make sense for him to lose the award, just because, I mean, for one, I'm under the impression that some worse people have gotten to keep their awards, like certain Weinsteins and Polanskis, but I don't have the fact on me to verify that. That's just so. Let's just pretend I didn't make that point.
Okay.
He won the award.
Yes.
So he was already recognized for best performance. Taking the physical trophy away and giving it to somebody else is just an empty gesture because he won the award. So there's like, you can't take that away. You can't be like, no, I'm sorry, you didn't win it. We didn't recognize your performance as the best performance.
I can't believe that was an option. Like, they were actually considering taking it away from him.
Yeah, no, there's nothing that you can do about that. He won the award fair and square, and I respect the Oscars line on this, which is our review is on the conduct of the awards, not the conduct of the work. The work stands on its own merit, and I respect that. Second thing I wanted to say to the to my fellow tinfoil hatters, a lot of us have discussed that this whole thing is staged and is fake, and that it's a distraction from talking about things that are more important. And I want to take a position that pushes back against that. There are topics that everybody can talk about there because everybody has a say in it, like this. I think Trump was a good example of that as well. Everybody wanted to talk about him. And there's other things that come up. And the thing that makes these moments in culture important is that it gives everybody a chance to demonstrate their own thought process. We're talking about Will Smith. Lots of people are talking about Will Smith. So consumers can go from content creator to content creator and hear the different takes on the story and decide, I like the way that person talks about it. Maybe I will now listen to this person for other things. So if for people who like me, who are like we'd like to talk about like, what's the nature of the universe and what are the machinations that control, and what are our banks up to, and the elite and vaccines and all that stuff. We talk about all that stuff. So when it comes to talking about like, a guy hitting another guy in the face on live TV, have that conversation. Demonstrate your intellect by being able to handle a more mainstream talking point like this. Don't back out of it. Use it as a chance to convince people that you could be somebody they might listen to for other things. So that's my take on that, and that's why I'm not going to be reluctant to talk about something just because it's mainstream or cultural.
Yeah.
And those are the only two real main things that I was thinking about all this. To your point about like where this is gonna affect his career, at the very least, he's had a career. There are performers who have not had the same career that he has, who would hurt a lot more for the consequences to this. So I think this would be an opportunity for him to maybe like get back to basics a little bit, maybe just make music for a little while, or get into alternative media, maybe focus on his own live stream thing, see if he can rally his base and see if like other people who still support him, like us, who are still fans and we want to see what he does, can gather. Maybe he'll do his own podcast. I don't know if he's doing one, but he can do his own YouTube thing. So it could be a chance for him to see what else is out there in the market. And if he takes to any of it, it would be a huge boost for that market because of the clout that he does have. So, the elite, whatever form they may take, it's a circle that just gets smaller over time, and people get turned out because either they no longer adhere to the standards of the elite, or they fuck up like Will Smith did, and now he's going to have to redirect that energy to something else. I just don't think it would be wise for him to sit around and wait to be brought back into these productions, because they'll have moved on. There's other people that they can work with. So that's what might be the right choice for him now, is to see what else is out there and see where he can put his weight into, and kind of start building from the ground up all over again. Say, I had a death, I had a rebirth, and now here's me working to not only repair the damage that I did, but try to make things better overall.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm waiting for it. He picked up something. Charles has picked up
Waiting for
something.
the next bit.
I'm just gonna say right now, Nerf. So I feel like he has such a big opportunity. If to say the least, that he's being told that he cannot be in certain movies because of the studios, or he can't get an award for stuff. He has a good influence on TikTok and on YouTube, and he was in the YouTube Rewind that actually did do well, and then he was,
And was also a huge meme.
He was a huge meme. He still is. I hate to say it, but I think this could be a good opportunity for him though to kind of not step back, because he just came back from taking a massive step back. So I think this is a good time for him to try to be the better version of him and do the things he wants to do with his media that he has. And I hope him the best. And if he does do something, I will be one of the first to see it. I am a big fan of Will Smith, and I will definitely be following him.
Just imagine he sets up a podcast, first guest, Chris Rock. Give the two of them a chance to hash it out and let him, give him a chance to apologize to him directly.
So I think they already did. I truly think I think this already happened. I think they already physically apologized. I think they called each other because they've been in several things together. They were actually in The Fresh Prince together, and like they were in tons of stuff together. I'm pretty sure they called and they're like, bro, I fucked up. It's like, bro, man, I fucked up. I should have made that joke. I'm sorry about it. And
apparently that Chris Rock is heated and thinking apparently the two of them have issues with each other now.
See, but that's all being said from media. There has not been statements like Chris Rock is more worried for his life because you have crazies out there that are big Will Smith supporters, and you have the crazies no matter where you go. I know he's kind of worried about that. He did a show the following night and apparently had some guys getting heated in the crowd because of the incident that happened. But I don't think they have like any beef like in that category, or if they do, it's real beef and that it's not gonna get settled online. It'll be one of the things where they just hate each other for a while and then it just sizzles out. They just ask each other, why are we even so mad? But no matter what, I think if a situation he starts a podcast, the first person on his podcast is Chris Rock. If that's the case, I 100% say they already apologized. Right now, on April 11th, 2022, if he starts a podcast, does a video, and they apologize, I'm guessing that they've already apologized by this point.
Worst comes to worst, Will Smith could just go back to doing music and they're figuring they just do the KSI Logan Paul thing and just fight. I mean,
I think that might be worse for him. They're gonna be calling him like the fucking cheek slapper. Like, I don't know if that's gonna be a good thing for him.
It can be taken out of context in so many ways, Jordan.
I want it to be. Will Smith, more like clap them cheeks. But yeah, so that's kind of the Oscar. That's kind of the Oscar segment. There. Do we have any final words on it?
I just want to say I kind of agree with you that they probably have already hashed it out somewhat. You pointing out, by the way, that they have known each other and they go back a long time, because I remember now, yeah, Chris Rock did show up on an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, at least one.
I know he was wearing a wig and a dress and they were grinding.
Yeah, he was doing like I think 2 characters in one. Yeah, I remember that. So that actually adds a little bit of fuel to the maybe they staged the whole thing fire. A little bit of fuel for that.
Dude, if it was staged, I swear to God, I'm gonna blow a cap. My own cap.
Never know. Like if it was staged, we're never gonna find out.
It's too deep now.
So, but nonetheless, if they apologize, if he has apologized already, even if they were to still do that episode, still do a public one anyways, just to like so that everybody can hear it and help them process their own grief as well.
Yeah,
and the views, of course.
Pretty much, sorry. If Will Smith pretty much destroyed his career on purpose.
See, that's the only reason I don't.
Just wants out of Hollywood, doesn't want to say no to like 100 people, so just say, all right.
I mean, once again, when you look at the numbers, and guys, I'm not trying to make this go on, listeners. I'm really not. I really hope that it's staged in some ways, and I really hope it's not, because if it is staged, it should have came out already. But if they signed a contract or whatever with the Oscars because they need views, then it's so hard to say. But I hope it's faked because I don't want to see friendships get destroyed. But I also hope it's not, because Will is now paying a price for it, and I'm really back and forth on it. But imagining that it is real, because that's what the primary media is saying. And please let us know your opinions down below. And if you want to watch the full podcast, links is in the description if you're watching this little short YouTube clip. But yeah, I really kind of hope it's real, and I hope they're able to get back to it. And if they already apologize, hopefully they do a public apology that they do, not a third-person media person going, "Oh, he said in this tweet, I apologize to the ones I may or may not have slapped." And then Chris going, "I apologize for ones I may or may not have made fun of." It's like, you can't do that. Just have them say it. Have them say it. I don't want a third party telling me if they apologize, except if it's like someone I care about.
And as far as the next topic is concerned, because we only have about half an hour before Joseph has to leave, the other thing that involves people going back and forth, has to do with Halo.
You did a pretty decent job with that segue. So let's continue going with you, Charles. Tell us, Airsoft.
It's Nerf, you jackass.
Oh, I was so close, chat. Go ahead, Charles. Tell us about Halo.
What they call the next season, which is finally coming out with season 2, is Lone Wolves, Lone Wolf Life, baby. But I guess it's gonna be something to do with characters who are lone wolves, like Noble Six or something. Most of the time, Master Chief when he's not surrounded by Marines or other characters or something like that. And also, they're probably gonna have a new mode in the multiplayer. I probably have to deal with that. Just basically just a knockout, which would be like playing Rumble or whatever the hell it's called, Halo or Slayer, something like that. All I know is that I'm just hoping that whatever the hell they have coming in this next season will be better, because I've been miss playing that game and everything, but Jordan's been too busy playing Dead by Day to play Halo anymore.
Cause I stream. I literally stream for a living. I gotta play a consistent game. It makes sense to play a game that's not grinding for views. And as it goes for now, unfortunately, Halo's not doing great on the plays charts. This is right now going in history as one of the worst Halos made at this moment in time. And they are doing everything they can to pull the numbers back up. They're about at the same line as the new Destiny game. And no one's making videos on the new Destiny game. That is where people are getting concerned.
People still are. It's not most of the ones I follow that make Destiny related videos still are.
Well,
getting pretty decent numbers, as far as I can tell.
But they're getting numbers, but the players aren't there. That's what numbers I'm talking about. The players aren't there. Versus day one of launch, a week in the launch, a month of launch. They have literally, I don't know what you're laughing about, but their numbers just been
some
going
people
down.
are looking at Destiny and thinking, screw that, I have free will.
No free will.
Yeah. I know some experienced people still playing Destiny, but just being a bit of but things will be coming, because there's an event coming up, I think.
For Destiny or Halo?
I know in Destiny. Okay. And I know in the future season they're bringing back another Destiny 1 raid, and every one of their mothers is going to be all over that.
But you see the problem there. Destiny's making things to come back for to make people play it, but Halo's not.
It's thief for thief and can't get their heads out their asses and be more communicative with the player base, and be more consistent with the content, and actually deal with some of the issues people have been complaining about, and actually make the game it's actually fun to play.
Well, they made it.
Halo 5 is better than this game at this point. I hate Halo 5.
The campaign, everything I see, yes. The multiplayer, that's a solid no. Halo 5's multiplayer is tanked on their numbers. Like, it was bad. But the campaign, though, is not entertaining. Like, no one is saying play Halo for this campaign, and it's a big issue since Halo's campaign is the biggest reason. And leaks have shown, not official leaks have shown that the multiplayer for Halo is done. It's already ready to go. Are they tweaking it? Are they holding it out because they have something big planned with Season 2? Or are they hoping that they are going to wait for a big event like a possible Microsoft E3 version of it? Boom, release everything there to drive up numbers, to drive up sales. They're listening, according to an article by IGN, links will be in the description. They sat there and are listening to the community of the complaints of trying to make the game better, constructive criticism. They're actually open and listening to those three main complaints. That I feel like all this is constructive criticism, so the fact that it's three separate complaints are odd. But the fact that they're actually listening, we might see a change to Halo, and we might actually see that it might be more entertaining. And I say might because the game's not doing so great now.
Hopefully they're freaking listening. They've been radio silent long enough. Freaking haven't freaking been doing anything as far as I've heard freaking from all the Halo channels I freaking subscribe to on freaking YouTube.
They've been mute, and that's why when they started talking about Season 2, it was a shock to everyone. Like, why start up with a Season 2 for a game that is going downhill? Why not release the multiplayer campaign that people are waiting for? People are waiting for this multiplayer campaign. Release the campaign, people will play. Like, it's that. But once again, it might not be done yet. It might not be fully done yet. These are not official leaks that I've read. Or I didn't read, I watched it. They're not official leaks, but everything I'm seeing from these leak channels is all the exact same thing. Is like they have several people in the campaign. They literally show you other players as Master Chief in the campaign on a screen. And I'm like, you've got other people there. Those are usernames there. Why don't we have this? Like, I just want it out. I just want the game that was supposed to be released a while ago. I want the full game. I would have I would rather have waited.
This is why freaking people, including me, have been saying that if they needed freaking more time, they should have just freaking held it back a while longer. Freaking, but no, they had to freaking push it out freaking because of the deadline that they have. And freaking, we got a whole fucking other freaking Halo 5 goddamn situation that didn't need to happen again.
Yep, but unfortunately, we're a small percentage of people that understand why games need to take longer. We're a small percentage of the people. We're the people saying, take your time, but our comments get put down so low because you have the 72% of other people saying, give us the game, we just want the game. And then they get the game, they're going, I don't want this. You broke it. It's like, no.
This is supposed to be a game that's supposed to hold us over for freaking who knows how long?
This isn't done. It's still kind of runny.
Seriously, they said this game is supposed to be like freaking what they freaking support for like the next couple of years.
Yep.
This game's not gonna have anybody playing the motherfucker by the time the next one is finally revealed, though.
See, and that's why I think this was a tactic that failed. I think what they were planning to do is slowly release stuff for it to keep people going along, but when the Master Chief's collection has about the same amount of people playing the Halo Infinite multiplayer, that's when you have issues. Like, that's when you have legit issues, when the Master Chief Collection's multiplayer is still getting played, and you have the new Halo that launched is getting about the same amount of people playing on a weekly basis.
If not more.
Yeah. It's like, you shouldn't have those numbers. It should be a clear stake.
At least with the Master Chief Collection, you have at least like freaking half a dozen games you can play the campaigns through. And a freaking shit ton of multiplayer modes you can play through.
But these stats I'm talking about are only on the multiplayer. That is what is crazy. Like, this is only for the multiplayer stats. I can't find anything on the campaign stats. These are only the multiplayer stats that are being talked about. And the numbers are just stupid. Like, that's why I always say a game should take their time, or a game developer should take time to make it. But unfortunately, once again, we're a small percentage of people. We don't get the final say. our concerns go down to the bottom because of being rushed with people saying, we want the game, we want the game. They have YouTubers and other large creators saying, we want this game now. It's been
And you got
waiting
pressure
too
from
long.
the top as well. You have the investors.
You have the investors who put into the game.
How deflating must that be to like make a Halo announcement at E3? Oh, here's our announcement. We're releasing a level.
Yeah, it's not a great announcement. But what would be a great announcement is them saying, we fixed the game.
ODST was basically just a campaign DLC with Firefight for Halo 3 that basically releases a whole new game for $60.
But that was still good though. That was still ODST was good. I mean, yeah, everyone's gonna bitch about it. Everyone's gonna bitch about Ghost, but Ghost's campaign was actually really good. Multiplayer sucks, but the game was pretty good. But everyone's gonna bitch.
Basically, just got Halo 3's multiplayer repackaged with it, with all the DLC maps and everything. That's mostly why people complained. This is basically something that should have been freaking just released as DLC instead of being repackaged as a whole game with the multiplayer from Halo 3 attached to it.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question. It's kind of like, you don't have to answer it this episode, but I want you to think about that. I want you guys to think about, what was the moment in your experience where you started to think there was going to be a downturn in gaming? For me, it was with StarCraft 2. Once I saw that StarCraft 2 was going to be released in 3 iterations, one for each of the campaign, that's when I started to think, oh no, they're going to try to get more value out of the consumer than give value to the consumer. So that was the moment for me where I started to think something was up. But if you guys have an answer now, feel free. Otherwise,
2012.
2012. I want to hear this. Go ahead.
And freaking when they start, I don't know when the whole Games as a Live Service thing started, but that's also freaking when I started hearing about that bullshit. Again, when that started to happen, I was like, yep, freaking, I'm gonna start seeing freaking some of my favorite games go right down the shithole. Freaking 2012 is like one of the last few years I can remember. Like, I actually was excited for a bunch of games because Halo 4 came out that year, Black Ops 2 and Borderlands 2 all came out in that same year. And I freaking played Borderlands 2 the night it launched after driving through like fucking monsoon to get the damn thing from my GameStop. And I freaking mostly met Jordan through freaking Halo, but I also played a lot of Black Ops 2 back in the day with him too. And that's how I met Tab and Jess and Dante and Justin. You know, all the original group of friends that we used to play with.
I'm kind of amused at the idea of you like driving through the monsoon, like the windows down, you're just shouting at the rain. You're like, fucking rain, get out of here, get off my ass.
Get out of here!
I did have to look at my window freaking because I couldn't see because my windshield wipers were shit, but freaking that's a whole nother story in itself. Freaking, in Halo 4, I played the campaign of that. And I also played the multiplayer a lot. Freaking, I was introduced to Chief Keef by a college roommate, listening to one of his songs. Freaking, I was freaking owning people with a shotgun in Halo 4. Freaking, like I said, freaking 2012 was like one of the last years I can remember that freaking had a bunch of games that were fully freaking out at release, and then had DLCs came out for them, and the games are freaking fun to fucking play. Even though Halo 4 was bullshit, but that's another story.
So, Zona and Joseph, the question is like, when did you notice like the games were starting to go on that long journey? Okay.
Something was about to go wrong in the games industry.
Okay, so I know this is really recent, but this kind of lines up because once again, I didn't care for the longest time. I just wanted to play the game. But when it caught me at the point, it was Cold War. And this was why. For being an alpha test, being in beta test, and then playing the game. Mm-hmm. I could say this. Launching a game with 4 maps. That's a beta thing. That's a beta thing. Launching the campaign or launching it with 4 maps. And then had one zombie mode? That's a beta move, and they did that, and that's when I went, this game's going to take forever. It's going to be so long before anything else happens, and that's what happened. They kept having to add in stuff because people were like, I'm done playing. And they're like, here's another map. You like that? You like that? Hang on, give us 3 more months. Here's another map. You want more money to spend? Here's a $20 cosmetic that means nothing. Here. do this. It's not even like an NFT. You can't even get value back out of it. Like, it's literally, they're just going, hey, you want to blow some money? Here you go. Like, a Cold War was probably when I noticed that games were going to be taking that long, drawn out time period.
And also because it had that freaking stupid battle pass shit from Fortnite, freaking where people could spend at least $100 something on the whole 100 tiers of battle pass, and have freaking guns that you could get from the battle pass. Otherwise, and also what Jordan freaking,
it was just skins.
They also had guns you had to play challenges for.
Well, in Fortnite, it was only skins. The battle pass was only cosmetic. Just so you know, like, because the premise of the game is you enter the island without a weapon at all, so you would find your weapons while you're on the ground.
That's the thing I also hate about Cold War is freaking they had freaking people spending money on these freaking on these like skins and shit for characters and the guns, and sometimes freaking even for the guns. Literally, there was times where you could have to freaking buy a character pack, whatever they were called, freaking that had a gun in it. That one sniper that was basically the Barrett 50 that sucked ass, freaking, or you can complete a challenge for it, which also sucked ass.
The thing is, like, when you're talking about the Cold War and when they added the battle pass, like, that wasn't nearly as bad as, once again, we kind of go back to the whole loot crates idea with Halo Infinite, Black Ops. Like, that was a bad time, because then you truly had it to where you paid real money to open up a crate that gave you a chance to get a better gun that was 1% better than the other one, and now you have people running around the map with either something that's so overpowered, something that can't even get a kill because the other gun takes you out faster, something so broken. Like, that was like a dark, like, that idea of adding in content. Like, I personally, I like this idea. Give us character skins, because people were willing to pay that. I paid for it. Give us character skins. Give us gun camos. Give us emotes. Don't fuck with the game itself. I love the idea what they did with the battle pass for Cold War. They gave us a gun, but you didn't have to unlock it through the battle pass. You could cheat your way through it, or you could do an actual challenge to get the gun. And the guns they gave us were never OP, to say the least.
Advanced Warfare is the game that started the whole freaking loot crate bullshit with Call of Duty. Freaking people were getting like the overpowered version of the barrel that was freaking busted as hell.
Yep, dude, that game pissed me off. Once I hit a nuke, I was out.
And then World War II freaking happened with that freaking shitty ass freaking loot crate system that they had, and Black Ops 3 and 4.
I'm trying to remember 3. Black Ops 3. Let me look at it.
Black Ops 3 had so many freaking guns locked behind the loot crates that you had to be lucky to get. Freaking, there's still a bunch I still haven't gotten out there. And some of those guns I haven't gotten yet. Freaking some of my favorite ones, like the US MC from Black Ops 2. That was the first gun I ever got gold in Black Ops 2, for fuck's sake.
Oh yeah, I don't know how I forgot about there's so many like Call of Duties with like different layouts and stuff like that. But yeah, Black Ops 3 was when they got a little better with the idea behind it. Keyword a little better.
A lot of money on to get freaking crypto keys, so you can end up spending on card points, so you can get freaking, hopefully lucky to get freaking something like the AK-74 or the PPSH or the USMC.
But at least they gave you in-game credits. They did a system where you played the game and you get credits for it, and that's actually what Halo's doing. To wrap it back in the Halo topic. According to this, Season 2 is going to launch off also a new feature where you play the game and you can actually earn credits throughout the game, so you can do things like buy the pass and things like that. That's only the article kind of said, is it could be rumored to do that, where they're actually giving you a currency way to purchase stuff.
Reach?
I'm thinking so. I think that's how it's going to work. Because they're actually talking about like giving you a currency in a sense, like to where you can actually use that on in-game content. So I think it's gonna be like Reach, how you could buy like the different headpieces and armor plates and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it might end up looking back in.
And also like the firefight voices. I still have yet to get freaking Cortana, Master Chief, and that. And or Johnson.
Well, maybe.
I'm still mad. I think I missed in the Master Chief Collection in the one season where they had Sergeant Johnson's firefight voice freaking for ODST on the thing. I'm fucking pissed I missed that because that was a pre-order thing. You can't get it now.
Yeah, I just
ODST voice.
Halo's a great time, but you know what was also a great time was this podcast. Joseph, though, do you have any of because we kind of kicked you out of the Halo topic. Do you have any final words on your opinions on the Halo?
No. I mean, I was just observing what you guys were saying, just hearing about like different times we identify things that are going on in the industry. So no, I'm good.
Okay, and I definitely tried to answer your question as best I could. Hey, Cold Wars when I noticed like that spike was going, and then the Skull Hunter podcast, the thing just derailed from there. But so Charles is not here currently, so we're just gonna hold out for a hot second. But while we hold out for a hot second, Joseph, I asked you a question before the podcast started because maybe there's some people out there who just need a little bit of oomph, maybe need a little bit of courage to go on through. Do you have a little inspiration / motivational speech, or like a quote, or a daily reminder, or etc.?
So this is the one that's been chambered for this very situation. A little bit of advice that I picked up not too long ago, which is if you got any grass nearby, a lawn or a backyard or a park, go pay it a visit. There's something about just being on grass helps, well, ground people, and it helps relieve stress. So, and if it's safe to put your bare feet on it, do that. If it's not safe, then just being there and being present in it can go a long way. So fundamentally, get to nature when you get the opportunity, change the scenery. That stuff really makes a difference.
Okay.
That's on one of those SPC videos I've seen.
Well, that's the point, Charles.
SPC?
I honestly don't know what SPC means. But Charles, do you have an inspirational, motivational quote or anything like that to maybe help someone get through that little oomph?
Not one that I can think off the top of my head. And I thinking there's one of those videos like the one I mentioned. I forget what they're called, but it was one of those weird videos that tells. I'll find it on YouTube. I'll share it on the freaking Discord after this, and so you guys will see what I'm talking about. It's one of those weird videos that that somebody narrates over, freaking, and it's like it has a weird animation, freaking style that usually has to do with freaking apocalyptic shit.
Okay, I'm imagining cars like blowing up and stuff like that, and them going, "Only you can prevent forest fires or Russia attacking the Ukraine."
What I was thinking about, freaking has it, thinking, well, the world is so fucked where freaking if you go outside, your freaking skin will literally melt, and there's freaking this one creature that's literally an amalgamation of people freaking going around chasing after anybody, and freaking shit happens, and I don't freaking I'll find that video and you'll see what I mean.
Okay. Is that supposed to be inspirational?
No.
All right.
You know what?
Well, I mean, it's going to be motivational. If the mounts are coming after me all of a sudden, yeah, that'll motivate me.
To get the fuck back inside. Oh God, that sounds like a bad Fallout situation. Oh my God. So I guess only thing I can get is this is kind of a cheesy thing, but it really kind of shoots into life. Is don't take things for granted. Don't hold yourself back. And the biggest thing, and the biggest reason why you don't, is because you never know you're gonna get to if you don't get started. And I feel like getting started and worried about what people are gonna think, what people are gonna do, and how they're gonna respond is always like the reason why people don't go for it. They don't know what's gonna happen. They don't know how people are gonna treat them. Just go for it. And not segue, but it's a perfect segue to our sponsor, Anchor, because Anchor helps you get started immediately. They sit there and they help you from your distribution to getting your podcast out there, and they even give you that little bit of motivational advice, and get you paid. So as I can say, I don't know if the deals are different. I don't know how the algorithm works, But let's say for like every 10 views a podcast gets, you get a cent. So that motivates you to kind of keep on going so you can see your numbers go up. And they have easy analytics that are simple to read. So it helps you get started today. So I highly recommend if you're wanting to start a podcast, seriously, just do it. And if you do it, give Anchor a try. Go to anchor.fm or download the Anchor app today. I would highly recommend it, guys. They've been sponsoring us. We've been using them. And it kind of leans back into start something. Don't ask yourself, should I? Don't hold yourself back. Go for it. You never know until you start. And getting started is always the hardest part. Now, with that kind of being stated, the reason why that's one of the biggest things is because if I would have got started on my YouTube career a year sooner, with playing pro Call of Duty, with being involved with such big events, I could be somewhere so massive in my career. But if I think like that, then I have to think the opposite way too. I might not be where I'm at today. I might not be doing the podcast. I might not even be streaming. Me and Brittany might not have met. So don't ever look back on it either going, man, if I would have got started. So that's why I highly say, don't question yourself, get started. Because so you don't think back going, if I just would have got started a year ago, like I could have done this. But if I would have got started a year ago, I would have done it. Just do it. Just do it. Like Nike, just do it. I think Nike does it. I'm not 100% certain. But to wrap up the podcast for today, Charles, go ahead and be that little sellout we know you are. Where can people find you?
If you like watching,
You literally plugged Nike in the middle of your.
If you like watching somebody upload video game video stuff, or rants about freaking wrestling and other things, you can follow my YouTube channel, which is at 141 subs right now, which is called CJ the Lone Wolf.
Yeah, 140 subs. You could hit 200 by the end of the year.
Congrats, that's awesome.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of sub counts, I actually, when I released my new video over at Skull Hunter Games, we stream on Twitch. We only stream on Twitch. We do our YouTube videos. I forget. I'm officially moving over. We do our YouTube videos. That's where our Mr. Beast style videos happen. That to this day, I'm still getting complimented for performing like Mr. Beast, but for Dead by Daylight. So that's motivation to keep going in the right direction. But that is me. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere else. You can spell Skull Hunter Games at, and that's where you find me. Joseph, where can people find you?
You can find me at giantenemycompany.com or go to YouTube and find Giant Enemy Channel. And that'll do. That'll do.
And where can we find this podcast? You can find this podcast anywhere you type out Skull Hunter Podcast. That could be YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere. Anywhere you want to find it, you can find it. Just search up Skull Hunter Podcast, guys. We have almost gotten 1,000 listens in total since day one to now. That is insane for a podcast of just a couple of guys sitting down, trying to stay on topic before people derail the situation like crazy.
Basically, you guys are more at fault than I was.
You know what? I will agree to disagree. I didn't even tell my sex story. My sex stream story. That's still fresh in my brain. You know, I'm still thinking about that, but that is where you can find the...
got 2 minutes for Joseph to sleep, Jordan. Wrap it up.
Okay, so while I was streaming, I had a wet dream. So that was the Skull Hunter Podcast, guys. Once again, thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring the podcast. And, guys, that will do. Charles, sell us out. Goodbye, everybody! Woo!
Everybody fix this shit, otherwise they're gonna end up in the same situation as freaking the Paramount Halo show. It's gonna freaking end up in the trash.
We forgot to talk about that.